Welcome back to Your World this Thursday. And that conversation was quite something, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We learned quite a bit. Winnie, you have missed.
I have.
Winnie. So a lot today being the International Day for Drug Abuse and Illicit Trafficking,
yes.
There's so much that we see in Nakada is that the deputy principal, deputy ndio alikuanga mkali kuliko hata prince. So we look at Nakada and think wanatuchapa tu watu. No, but the things they're doing behind the scenes to just ensure that we are protected as a community is a lot, because they do their research to find out where people behaving this way to a certain drug. The drug should not, maybe the alcohol is not supposed to make you behave this way. So when they go and check, they found kuna vitu, unajua venye muratina is just muratina, right? I mean, but then kuna kitu inaitwa ratish. Tumemwona Dr. Susan. Ratish. And you'd think it's just muratina.
It but sounds like a good name. Like,
no. Ratish kwa mtaa is muratina added things that you do not know. It could be added alcohol yenye haujui ni nini iko ndani. Na chang'aa pia inaongezwa ndani ya muratina. So kawaida muratina then iko tu na pombe inakaa tu iko sawa, iko regulated, lakini when they add these things now Nakada steps in, they do their research, they do their test, and they're like, we're shutting it down because we're protecting you.
And maybe these things that are being added onto it are illicit, toxic, and
they're killing people.
Oh my days.
It was quite interesting.
Great conversation. I was out on another assignment. I promise. But nilikuwa job mahali. But I'm here. I'm here, and it's so good to see you this morning on Trendy Thursday. Now on this side, of the show, like on the second hour of the show, we want to transition and talk about something that all of us should actually be aware of and think about it, okay? And this is as far as AI, privacy, and surveillance is concerned, and we're looking at data privacy and personal security and what that means to you as an individual. Those people who tumezoea ukienda mahali unaambiwa tuma ID number yako, leta sijui majina zako, M-Pesa number, bank account number, all those things. How much of your personal information are you allowed or should you share, okay, with the people? And in this day and age where they say data is the new gold. So we need to be very careful in terms of what we are sharing, and even online, okay? We need to be very, very careful. But we have experts here to help us understand that world. But before we introduce them, a question for you this morning is...
if you had a data delete button, if you had a data delete button that could erase your entire online footprint, would you press it? Why or why not? If you had a data delete button that could erase your entire online footprint, would you press it? Why or why not?
You know the overthinker in me,
Yes.
So I'm thinking, okay, do we have options for this question? Because if you ask me, do you remember those days where we used to say Sasa, like XA?
And when Facebook used to be like the WhatsApp, because we'd ask William Kaji, we're having a whole
conversation
on at Twitter. Too much information. Like, what are we talking about?
So if I could erase, I would address that era of the taxa. Like, what was that? That is what I would essentially erase. But hey, let us know at NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X, and tag us at Lubembe_Winnie, and it's Wikani Mary, and use our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400, or better yet, give us a call. We're live, so we can, so that we figure out what is it that you would want to erase, why or why not? So that's a very good question. What would you erase? Would you, first of all?
That I would. That I would. The Xaxa bit of things. And anywhere I have ever left my details. Umepatiana ID, namba yako, gari yako. All those places. All those things. I don't want to use a Trump word. So I just erase. Delete. All those things. Okay, let's meet our panelists this morning. I'm also curious to hear what if you guys would erase something, why and why what not. It would be. But yes, let's start on my Papa. Yes. We have Kariuki Njeri, who's a data compliance specialist. Karibu sana. Good to have you on the show. And we also have Robert Manyala, who's an IT expert.
good to see you and good to have you this. What would you guys erase?
Yeah.
Who wants to go first? He's looked at you, Mr. Kariuki. Would you first of all erase anything?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Of course, I would like to erase anywhere where I've given information.
Yes.
And it's not necessary anymore. I would like to erase that.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Robert?
Yeah, I'm Robert Manyala, IT and software expert. If any case I was given a chance to erase,
yes.
I don't know which one I can erase, but there are very few.
Oh! Very few.
Yes.
So you are aware of this kitambo? Sisi ndio tumekuwa tukilive huku blindly.
Yes, because knowledge is poverty. Failure to have knowledge, it leads to poverty. So when you know something, then you can prevent ahead. I had a scenario where somebody was requested to present their CV. And the first thing was told that, can we get your X account or can we get your Facebook account? Can we see what you have done? And the challenge was the person maybe talk ill of the previous employer badly by that. And the question was, how sure are we that even after releasing you, you won't talk bad about us? So the little button can still help many people.
Yeah, yeah, that's so true. Because they check, they do check.
Yeah.
They do.
Let me tell you, first of all, can we just understand, towards in the basics, there's data privacy and there's data protection.
Yes.
Can we first of all understand these two terms? And then we'll come back to, Robert, I think, you to understand more on personal information. How much
should you
personal?
Yeah.
You know, like how personal is personal?
Yeah.
So that you don't want to share and what not. But Mr. Kariuki, data privacy and data protection.
Yeah, you know, when you talk of data, data is about the personal information.
Okay.
And before you give any data, you must first pause and ask yourself, is it necessary?
Okay.
And you only give that which is necessary. You don't overgive information.
Right.
Because you see, when you talk of data, personal data, that is your ID, your phone number, your family, where you stay. It exposes you if it is not properly protected.
Okay.
So there's that privacy. You are allowed to. You are allowed not to give out that information. At the same time, the data collector or the processor needs to protect that data that you have given.
Okay. So I do the privacy bit of things, and then they do the protecting bits.
Yes. And where they violate, and we shall come to that.
Yes.
They need to inform the Commissioner of Data Protection in time before you complain.
Okay.
And also, they must have a way of rectifying that particular breach.
Okay.
This is a breach.
Okay.
Yeah. Just on that, and when we talk about me being able to protect, to provide data sparingly, what am I supposed to give? What is allowed for me to give and what is the things that I shouldn't? Because we walk into buildings, wako like kwanza hii ID yako ukishuka ndio utaichukua. I don't know what you're doing with my ID the whole time you're down there, you know. And there are others that will just want to register everything before you get in. So at what point do I say hapa stavuka, nitafika hapa, and are they aware as well that they shouldn't be pressing you for maybe such?
You know, data protection is something that's a bit new. Remember, even our own country, we passed the law in 2019, recently, and we started implementing it, I think in 2002, yes. 2022, sorry.
Yes.
And we have a commissioner, an office of a commissioner for data protection, which was created, and it's very active. But previously, before then, we were not very sensitive to our data. And you would find that, and a good example is when you walk into a building, you give your name, you give your phone number and your ID. And then when you walk out, maybe they're left even with their ID. As you walk out, you take the ID.
Then they tell you to sign.
They tell you to sign, and you walk away. You do not know where else they take this thing.
Everything. Your signature,
my signature is there.
Your phone number, your name.
The other question you ask yourself, the person who has taken that data, has he or she been trained on how to protect that data?
Because those books...
Because the person who walks immediately after me can come and take all. He has access to all of that.
Yeah.
That's exposure. And I believe as this space is, as the technology is improving, they're coming up with programs of, we can call them, they're coming up with what do you call it?
It's called Soldier App.
Yeah, the Soldier. No, yeah, they're coming up with softwares that can be used, and it protects you.
Okay.
But the ordinary books that we use,
ledgers after ledgers,
after ledgers, that information is left there. So that it's so easy when it comes to somebody else who wants to collect data. Does not need to come and ask consent from me to get that information. All he needs is to go and get that book from the soldier or from a mobile money provider or anybody that we normally give those information. And then they compile that, and maybe they want to use it for something like a referendum. They collect it and they take it to maybe the IBC, tell them, okay, well, this is the number of, in this particular county or this particular area, supported this referendum. Whereas you're not even aware.
You're not aware.
That's a breach.
Yes.
Okay.
But why, and that is why this act came. The purpose is to protect and to make sure that the data collector is guided on how to protect my privacy.
Okay. Right. We'll come back to understand.
Yes.
Sorry, I'm just curious in terms of then people, how much of awareness do we have out here? Because up until now, we still see people who, yes, go to buildings, leave everything else that is possible and get a handbag up.
I'm just getting in and getting out.
So how much of information are people aware of? But before you answer that, I want to bring in Robert in this sense, online. Okay? Now with all the apps, and not just social media, but also money lending apps, we have, what is it called, mobile banking. There's a lot of things that is happening online that when it comes to sharing personal information and personal data, we don't even know how much are we supposed to give, because I'm pretty sure you had the case where some mobile lending bureau app was calling my relatives uncle and generally you know. So can you understand personal information in that sense, as far as digital or the online space is concerned? How much is too much?
How much is too much? You need a big queue today. So we always say that because of data, and data is key, and data is wealth for people who use data. And that's why in government of Kenya, they show it fit that we should be able to protect as much as possible. Maybe back again, just to say the protection part of it is very important, because in Kenya, we have various places where we provide our data. Maybe at the gate, at the restaurant, in very many places, and church and all that. So maybe my first encouragement will be that the people who collect the data, because we have what is called data collector, data control, and data processor. So it is important that if you take people's data, you protect as much as possible. And the first way to protect them is to put them in a way that not everybody can see. Use a solution, use a software. That's the way you said. Get a solution that will make sure that the data is saved once and cannot easily available to any other person. Imagine you walk to a building just to realize that somebody you thought you left at home has just gotten in. How does it look like? Or maybe this person you'll be looking for, but we're going to sign, then the second person is just that person. You see their details there. That's why it is good to now automate the process as a way of protecting people's data. Because with the latest technology, I can't be there writing, but have another way of capturing that data or copying, scanning everybody's detail there. That's why we ensure the data, the people who collect the data, they use as much as technology as possible to ensure that it is viewed once. Like in WhatsApp, there are things that view once. I think there's a reason why they came up with that, because they believe this is sensitive information. So it's important that we protect. However, there are people that it's a must, you have to provide the data for future occurrences. For example, if you go to the bank, you have to provide how much too much information sometimes.
Yes, even physical address.
Yes.
So that's why sometimes it depends with where you are giving your information. For the bank, for example, you have to get so many information simply because you can decide to disappear with their 10 bob or 10 million on the same. So they're just sure to protect the same. However, what matters after they have collected, how safe are they? That's now why we use tools like encryption. You change in a way that I cannot understand. You decode it a way that I cannot read. Even if any case you download it, you cannot understand it. That's why in WhatsApp they say your data is encrypted end to end. So meaning they know they collect people's data, but ability to expose it to other people is reduced as much as possible. Now, the online part of it. Yes, I take an image. I'm just taking ugali I've posted. I'm just in Githurai. We are about to post on the same. So sometimes human being is encouraged always to think before they act.
Hey, when it comes to social media, because I mean, how else will they know that I'm eating ugali for lunch?
And in Zanzibar.
In Zanzibar.
Just in Zanzibar.
Yes.
The landlord looks at you. Look at you have not paid your rent.
And in Zanzibar.
The next thing, the door is locked. Yes, you cannot access because you decided to go Zanzibar than paying my rent. So we advise people sometimes before you post, just get to know what is the possible repercussion of what you are posting as much as possible. There are some of them that many people die with a problem of making others happy. Like you want to make people happy. I'm just taking a nyama choma posted.
Life is
now,
good.
Give a result of what happened in Thika when somebody stole money from KCB Bank. And what did he do? Posted money online. We are just enjoying. And that's how it was.
That was it. Shortly.
I was rescued.
The money was rescued.
The money was rescued immediately because of that. So we encourage that. It is important, yes, to post online, but kindly check what you are posting. What you are posting today can affect you positively or negatively in future. Because social media sometimes do not forget. Imagine if you are told today, see how the world was. Today we are in our new world. Things have changed. And things have really changed. So I suggest and recommend that we post what is relevant. Do not give so much detail, like now your IDs, sometimes your PIN. And somebody asked because of data privacy and data protection, that if we are together, we are staying together in whichever way. If I hide my PIN, is it data protection or data privacy?
Exactly.
You have to go figure. Apple is sorted. You protect na private.
No, let me tell you, sometimes they say that you're someone very close to you. So either it could be your parent, could be your sibling, could be your best friend. At least watch out when ata kama ni M-Pesa PIN, I'm a bank, because something can happen and you might need the money and they will save you in that moment. So that's why I'm like, so how much?
So hapo una decide kama una protect ama una private. Na ni nani unapatia access.
And also sometimes you give you access.
And
that has landed many people into trouble. Because you trust someone, you give him the PIN, you give all the details, and he washes your account clean.
Clean. Sometimes it's not even someone you give.
You have nowhere to run. You blame yourself. You're the one who voluntarily gave by consent without being forced to give that information. So by the time you decide that you want to give out this particular information, just pause and ask yourself, is it necessary? Am I protected? Am I exposed? To what extent do I trust this person? So the moment you are able to answer those questions, and now you will be able to give it, because of course you'll never be able to keep it a secret to yourself,
100%.
everything 100%.
That's true.
But to some extent you have to expose yourself. All you need is to look at the degree of exposure.
And that was gonna be my next question in terms of wherever we are exposing ourselves. Now, in this case, take mobile money lending apps, mobile banking apps, the social media as well. We're buying everything, and they have what is it called? The card number and all those things. So are there things that maybe we can do to check if these other guys, they're sort of like well protected, that whatever data I am giving, nobody else can have access to? Are there like things that we can do to just be cautious?
Yeah. First and foremost, let's take a good example. The mobile app, loans app. The mobile loans app.
Yeah.
The way they are formed, the way as you apply, you ask several questions, and at one point they'll ask whether they can access your contacts on the phone. Most people do not give themselves a second thought that what would they do with this if I give them the access? Just put the button of decline.
Yeah.
Then they will, not just like you get guarantors, you can give 3-4 people whom they can contact.
Yeah.
And then you inform those people that, well, I'm taking this loan and I've given a name as a referral. Okay? Yeah. So those are not people who will be surprised if they are called. Yeah. But when you give the entire contact, they'll just go and pick randomly anyone. They might call your own employer.
Yes. Yeah.
And when you decline, it's for them now to decide if you're declining to allow the entire contact list, to access the entire contact list, whether you qualify or don't qualify. So don't rush to get the money and expose yourself. Then when you're unable to pay or something happens, you find yourself into more trouble. You would rather first of all qualify while you have protected yourself.
Absolutely.
Do not give so much information. Especially those things that those apps that have automated answers, you know, like they're asking you questions and you don't think twice, you just click Facebook and can you go to your contacts, any contact
Oh no.
The next minute,
like allow.
They allow. The next minute, they're so exposed. But it's because you never read through the instructions. First and foremost, and that's why you told, the protection starts with you. You are the security to your own data. Read carefully, look at what you can give, what you shall allow, what you shall not allow. And you see, the Constitution, that is Article 31, the Constitution of Kenya, gives you that privacy. Because it says that you have a right of privacy. Okay? Now, why are you giving it away? So and that is why the Data Protection Act came in. It was to protect that data. It is to keep your privacy. So that even the processors, anybody handling your data cannot use it without being regulated. They are very well regulated. There is no way anybody who has any licensed data processor will be able to give your information without following particular procedures and laws.
Mr. Karokis, having said that, we've seen the data being exposed. We've seen, I think a couple of years ago, Naivas kulikuwa na contact list ilitoka, kulikuwa pia na business registration. Yo kampuni zikawekwa zote nje, you'd be able to quickly just check. I think that was this year. Who owns? And then the names are there. You know, it came out. So I think with that information out there, of course, it's a breach. So what does then the act say or do when that happens? Are those, what laws are in place for that, and what repercussions what do they experience in terms of repercussions for exposing that kind of data?
Can we hold?
Yes.
Okay. We need to pay our bills, so we're going to break it down. When we come back, we'll answer that question. But plus so many other questions that are here as far as privacy, data privacy protection. And now with AI, we are talking to ChatGPT, for example, and we're telling ChatGPT a lot of things, and ChatGPT is just storing those things.
Yes, it is.
So how much of a danger is that as well? Okay, we'll also answer that question when we come back from the break. But remember, the question that we're asking you today is very simple. If you had a data delete button that could erase your entire online footprint, Would you press it? Why or why not? If you had a data delete button that could erase your entire online footprint, would you press it? Why or why not? At NTV Kenya, both on Facebook and on X and everywhere else on social media, it's how you can reach us, or also give us a call. We're live, or better yet, use our WhatsApp number 0112-500-400. We're taking a short break, very short commercial break. We'll be right back with more right here on YourWorld. So stay with us.
Denisi. Sasa wewe, Mr. Madeni. Kwa duka, Deni. Mama boga, Deni. Kwa choya kajo, Deni. Ukilala Deni, ukiamuka madeni. Unasikiaje ukitembea na madeni. Hati harafu ukitembea unaduga denim. Unatembea na maraana.
To get Deni by Skizana Nation, dial star 811 star 925#.
Skiza na Nation.
Kabla uondoke, je, unaona uondoke?
Nipe nikupe, uliza nikujibu.
Mimi naweza kukufanya one term president.
Vile Rigji anafanya hilo KK sioni kibaki.
Ya ndani paruanja.
Kwa sababu ya hypocrisy, unafikiri mimi mbaya, nimemwajiri bibi yake hapo kwa kabineti.
Talaka za wekwa wazi.
William Ruto has destroyed Kenyan health system.
Ndoa mpya kutangazwa kazi.
Wakati wewe mwenyewe story zako za kuendelesha taifa lako ni kuhusu wewe mwenyewe.
Na wewe mwenyewe ukiulizwa wasemaje?
Tunaenda kuendi sawa sawa.
Kweli na Mswahili alisema kidole kimoja kivunji.
Ni jukwaa lako la maswala ibuka. Dira ya siasa, uongozi wa taifa na kanda. Mduara kila Alhamisi saa 1 jioni na Frederick Mwitiriri na Lofty Matambo.
I'm Daisy and I'm here to report for work. I'm the new nurse.
Wewe ni ukuja hapa na kiburi tena ukajiandike kazi. Kwani uone hapo hivyo kuna line? Ngoje hiyo interview.
Wambo unajua 50k ni nini kwangu wewe? Wambo nataka pesa yangu wewe. Ama Kenya mzima itajua uko Kenya na unadanganya watu kwa Amerika.
Haki hapana.
Sly. Si unajua sisi ndio wale wa kujali maslahi. Yaani nakwambia ni vile hali ya uchumi imedorora. Ila tungekununulia keki kubwa hivi alafu tukupake kwa mashavu.
Nataka 24 mwezi wa 8. Mimi bado ni mdogo. Ni filter tu ya umaskini imenipiga hivi dadangu.
Anas Toto every Saturday at 8 p.m. on NTV.
Anas Toto.
Welcome back to the show. 31 minutes past the hour. Oh my days, we have very little time left and there's so much that we need to cover on the conversation today as far as AI privacy and surveillance state. And we just want to understand data privacy and personal security. How much is too much when it comes to sharing and what you're sharing, either online or physical? And how can you protect? Because like we've been told, protection and privacy starts with you.
Yeah.
And then before you talk about the data, you know, the collectors, handlers, processors and all those things, what they're doing to protect the data that you have provided. But before we went to the break, there's a question that Mikali had asked.
Yeah.
That
what happens then?
Yes.
So we have an act in place. The implementation of it, what does it look like?
Yeah.
We've seen data going to places that it shouldn't go. Then what then happens then? Is there a way to go back and be like, you have to pay for this misdemeanor, or damage that has been done?
Yes. Where there's a breach, two things can happen. One can opt to go and complain to the commissioner of data protection, and once you complain, then they will process the complaint, and if they find the data processor or the data collector has violated your rights, it can be fined, the fines are 5 million, it's a lot of money, or 1% of your earnings, whichever is higher.
Okay.
So, again, you can be charged of a criminal offense. Whereby, and that goes now to personal, to specific persons. You can be charged in court. You go through a criminal process, can be jailed up to 3 years, can be fined again up to 3 million. Yes. That's how serious it is.
Good to know.
Wow. Yeah. And yeah, that the fact that you can actually act and complain and something can be done.
And then there is also a limitation. Like for data under to report to the commissioner, you need to report within 72 hours of the breach. Within 72 hours of the breach.
Yeah. 5 years later.
Yes. And also, you can opt to go for file a civil case. And if you file a civil case, again, you can be paid damages. So really, a breach can really expose a company. Or the person, the data processor or the data handler. So whoever is handling the data. It exposes them a lot.
Now, can we talk about AI? Kwanza saizi ChatGPT 272 is what everybody is using, but again, there's so many others, right? And we're talking so much. Tunawaambia vitu mingi sana. So can we talk about the ways that we are unknowingly exposing ourselves, and especially when it comes, because we're like, technology is here with us, so might as well help us.
Easier.
Make everything easier. Robert.
Thank you so much. AI is a big thing currently.
Yes.
And for basically AI is artificial intelligence. Most probably there are programs that has been developed that you can feed something and automatically sometimes we have response unto them. And AI can be in various areas. We have ChatGPT, we have AI for businesses, we have AI for even various activities, even health. Like for example, you can have AI that you can suggest how you behave, then they can probably tell you that you have malaria on the same, or maybe you have mood in the morning, in the evening, you can be able to do this. So AI is a good thing, but any tool that you have, depending on how you use it, like somebody asked one day, the people who manufacture vehicles, if you get accident, who is the problem? The manufacturer or the driver? If your phone that you bought from whichever company was used to call and con somebody who has the problem, or who's the owner of the problem, who's capable. So in such regard, so AI is a tool that sometimes 90% has been developed to make repetitive work easier as much as possible to ensure that there's efficiency and at least there's growth in whichever area that we do things, and even to ensure that the information is available. Now, ideally, for people who don't understand AI, let me use a basic information like Google. If you are looking for hotel in Nairobi, you just go and Google hotel in Nairobi. Some people refer to it as SEO, search engine optimization. So that's basically how AI works. So people have provided a software, an app that you can feed as much information as possible, then it can be able to retrieve. And somebody one day asked, can AI cheat?
Can it?
Yes, because in technology we say feed from whatever you feed in is basically whatever you get out.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. So if you say that Nairobi is in Uganda and that was the first information, that's basically what somebody can know. So sometimes on AI people have provided sometimes wrong information that has misled people. I know several people in Kenya currently that when they are feeling, maybe they're not feeling well, they first go and Google.
Dr. Google.
Before they go to chemist,
to the
hospital, and all that. So AI is a great thing, but need to be used in a nice way. For example, in schools, I know currently or before those days, you want to really think and answer the question effectively.
Yes.
But currently,
AI.
Google
what do I need to know about this?
You know? So that can be used in a good way.
In a good way.
Yeah.
And also it can be used to predict what is about to happen.
Yeah.
Even in future.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just maybe, for example, it can give you analysis and plan earlier. For example, for people who do business, you realize sometimes you are making losses. You can use an AI to guide you and tell you which day of the month will you have more customers.
Okay.
Which who most probably will buy from you.
Yeah.
So it can be used also in a good way to help people. Maybe in church, for example, you can use AI to help you know during which weather period will you have more attendance.
Yeah.
When it's cold or when it's So then how do we, like, just to give people like practical ways that they can use AI but also use it safely, what would you recommend in terms of, yes, this you can share and this you can't share? And especially I'm concerned when it comes to health, because you're feeding in all your data, you know, your blood group, your what the symptoms, where you went last to the hospital,
what they said,
you know,
your
like
medical history is all there,
all those things, so that they can help you diagnose, right? So what is it? What is safe? What is not? Robert, as we sought Mr. Kariuki's mic.
Okay, so there are two types of AI. Kuna the control one, and we have a general one. Like now ChatGPT is general one. Control one are mostly systems that are guided by a given institution. For example, if you go to Kenyatta Hospital, they will ask you and they can feed into their system. So not everybody is allowed to feed, so they know what to do. The biggest mistake comes from the general AI. So we always recommend, yes, people will feed all the information various about whatever information they want to give, but it is advisable that use 2 or 3 various AI tools to verify before you take action. That will really help you, so that you can compare. Like I want to give you a simple example. Today, if you use Google Map, and you have just driven and you're seeing a river next to you, and you're being told you have arrived.
That has happened several times.
It's not the river you're going to.
You might seek alternative advice from the watchman or whoever is available. The same way, sometimes we allow you to use brain despite using AI.
Okay, so don't go into it blindly. It's like, when have you seen sometimes this has happened, but then when you take it to a deeper level, when it becomes a bit offensive, they're deep fakes now. A video is made of you and you're looking at it wondering, when did I don't even own that outfit, but maybe I own it. I'm not so sure. But they speak like me. They are moving like me. They
how do you start? How do you najishuku? I'm a maybe. Maybe I did it. It's just like
you know. So when it gets to such levels, surely. How are we protected or not protected? Where do we go to probably find this? And sometimes most of these people who are probably this is happening to them, they don't have the knowledge that probably the experts have. You don't know where to go, how to handle it. Or if there is a commissioner somewhere that I need to go to and be like, sijui walifanya nini, lakini huu ni mimi doing this. So what does it look like when it comes to the issues of deep fake?
You know, with data protection Act, it has provided all the processes, the remedies, and at the same time, it has really secured. We have one of the best laws protecting us on what the data, the processor or the person storing that data can do with it or not do with it. Also, if you look at the way that particular space has been done, 2019 we passed the law. I think now there's an amendment pending, trying to catch up with the evolving world.
Yes.
They try to cope with the technology, at the same time to make sure that the masses are well educated about their rights. One example I've given, that is one of the place where in data protection, the masses are not aware. They tend to think that you can just walk into a bank or walk into a mobile phone company and information is given to you of a third party, of a person you're trying to trace and all that. No, there are processes. First and foremost, even if it's the police, the DCI and all that, for them to get any data on your personal data, they must get an OB. There must be a complainant. Somebody has complained. An OB is well documented in a police station. Then that is given to an investigating officer who will also determine whether it is necessary to go get more information from a company that is handling that data to be able, maybe they want to trace you for whatever reason, or they want to know what you've been doing with this particular, within that particular space. Then if it's, for example, a financial institution, again, that officer cannot just walk into the financial institution and get that information. He must go before a court of law, apply through a miscellaneous application. Then the magistrate or the judge who is handling, in whose that matter has been filed, will have to check as to whether it is necessary to give that information or not. Is it necessary to allow them to investigate, for example, PK Injiri's bank account? To what extent will I allow them? Then the court issues the order. That order is now served to the particular institution, and then the institution will give the information that this particular officer needed. And then that information is what now he can use to prosecute you or decide not to prosecute. And again, when the matter goes to a full hearing, it's in court, they are charged. The officer must prove before court that he went through the proper process to get that data. If he did not go through that process,
then it's not admissible,
and somehow walked into an institution and in one way or the other was able to get that data, it will be rejected. Even tracing. You see, you tend to think that tracing, an officer will just wake up,
and then
go
just
to a company, he's given that. No. There must be an OB. There must be approval by senior officers who now have to check and see, is this really necessary? Do we have to go for this? So surveillance is not about exposing us. It's about protecting.
So then, and especially the institutions, because there's the act in place, but then there's the compliance bit. Okay. And you might find like there's so many institutions who are not compliant with the data protection, even as people.
But you'll be surprised with the compliance rate.
What does it
2019
look like?
and today there are over 2,000 companies that are compliant. They have applied and they're compliant. So the compliance level is moving very fast. The other thing is that if you're caught up as a data collecting institution or a company that is storing data, and you're caught up and you had not registered, oh my, the fine is too much. So that is what is making most companies, in as much as, you know, like they take audit seriously, also data protection should be taken with equal measures. It should be, you know, it's a serious thing. It can make an institution fall.
What is that process then for the institution?
The process, the good thing about it, it is online. Compliance is very simple. You apply to the Commission of Data Processing. It's online. The moment you fill in the particular forms which are filled online, then the commissioner will process it. First, we'll have to see whether you qualify to be processed, and upon being processed, you get a certificate. And you know, when they're processing you, that is now when they determine whether you have been processed that is when they determine as to the purpose of what's the purpose of why you're collecting that data?
Okay.
That's what they look at.
Yeah.
The other thing is that what are the measures that you are providing to protect?
Okay.
Because if you don't have measures that you can show that are of good standard to protect, then you'll not be licensed. And a good example is when we had, the government had brought up this program of, they were collecting data, what are they calling it?
Huduma.
Huduma.
Yes, Huduma number.
Yeah, Huduma number was a good thing.
Yeah.
Because government would, with a button, get all the information they want of a particular individual.
Yes.
Everything was being brought together.
Yeah. Yes.
But where did Huduma fail?
Yeah.
When a matter was filed in court, and the only reason why they were knocked out, court agreed, fine, it's a good thing. Collecting this data, government having this data with, you know, like all the data, they're able to get this data, because if you look at them, they're able to have, when you go to collect, when you go to register for an ID or even a birth certificate, they have all that information. Education is still under them. Almost everything is under them. But then now this time, everything was being brought into one page. But Huduma, the only problem they had was that they did not have that particular, they had not come up with a policy of how to protect and just in case of a breach, how to collect that particular breach. Because remember, with a single button, you are able to know who is Peter Karaoke Njiri.
Yes.
Everything
yes,
else,
everything.
children, family.
Yeah, where he lives.
Your entire class.
Where he lives.
Your ancestral and where you live.
The court stopped that process or the Huduma thing because of just that one thing, that they had not come up with a good remedy on how to protect. And with that, it was declared unconstitutional.
So now, sorry, do I have the right as Winnie to say, I am not too sure whether you guys have the correct measures to protect the data that I'm giving you, so no, we are not going to do that. Do I have that right as a citizen, as a person?
You have a right.
Okay. And then they say, hautaingia kwa hiyo. Because they also have a right to admission.
Because also they have a right to admission. Yes. That is true. That's now it's for you to choose.
Yeah. What is good for you?
Am I exposed? Is it really necessary for me to enter here? Because, for example, if I'm just walking into this building and, you know, when I was coming in, all they ask were the plate number. My ID.
Your ID.
But could they have asked anything beyond there? Unakuwa na allergy gani?
You don't know what they're planning upstairs.
How many kids do you have? Where do you live? Or where do you work? Where do you work? Where do your kids go
to school?
So where do you work? I can answer. Because I know I was working here for a TV show. So maybe they need to know that. But about my family...
What's your grandmother's name?
No, that's where we draw the line. But then these are big institutions that we're talking about. We're talking about companies that have proper structures in place. And earlier, Robert said that probably we need to automate the... Say, for example, M-Pesa. You go to an M-Pesa shop, namba yako, ID yako, mepatiana. You know, and sometimes you're an old lady who probably amacho ayoni vizuri, unasaidiwa. You know what I mean? So, what kind of information or education has been trickled down to even that person, other than the big institutions that are being compliant and all of that? So, even as you set up these systems, Robert, is the education in place, and do you work hand in hand with, you know, data compliance people to just make sure that tunafanya the right thing?
Exactly. Actually, when we came up with this, what is called Soldier app, it was because we realized that every gate people are signing, and we ask ourselves, what can we do to save our situation now that in Kenya data privacy is key? So that's how we came up with Soldier app, to be put everywhere, so that when you get to the gate, the soldier is empowered to use the phone, not the book, because the book is risky. Yes. Let me ask one thing. You have been told to sign. Do you know why you will sign in those books?
Why?
That is the big cue today.
Why am I giving you my ID? Yeah. Why do you need my signature?
Yes. So, and even now, let's use the apps. Even the apps. You are being told, because we always say desperation leads to vulneration. Yes. So you become more vulnerable at the end of the day. You are being told, accept. Next, accept, accept. 90% of people do not read. Our viewers today. Do you read those things, the terms and conditions? Sometimes we don't read. Because by that time, you're desperate, you want to see what is next most of the time. But however, there are now tools that have been used that even as we use to ensure that the data is protected. Okay. For example, let me use an example of people who process people's data. You go to a supermarket, you have done sell everything, all that. That data needs to be stored in a way that if something happens, it cannot easily leak to anybody else. Okay. Then there's something we call backup. So backup is very important to anybody storing people's data. In government, they tell us that our data must be there for at least 5 years. Many business owners, it's a rule. They say that you must have your data somewhere for all the transactions for at least 5 years. But how safe is where it is? If it's in a book, it will not be safe. Have you gone to a place where it's full of cabinets of files? Looking for your file when you go back to high school, you're looking for your file so that you can clear 10 years. Imagine that did not do anything else. But if in case they automated the process, it will be very good. Today we have a lot of QR code. I've seen even NTV implementing QR code for even feedback. That's much easier compared to me coming and giving feedback on how the service was. And that's a very good thing. So when you automate the process, like now I've seen today, on the Daily Nation, you can easily just download from wherever you are. Imagine if any case you should be having that one all the time, it is difficult. So we always encourage people, yes, have data, but do the following. Number one, encrypt. Back up as much as possible, and where possible, ensure this authentication to verify the authorized person logging in, so that you can be able to have what is called trail. Who logged in, what time, who viewed what. For example, in this case of the one for Gate, I can be able to know this is the person who viewed the people and for this reason. But currently with a book, you can know how
you cannot know. But then the other question that I would like to find out is then, after the 5 years, say for example, how do we
transition?
Do we destroy? What happens to hizi vitabu zote? How do we dispose of them? How do we dispose of them?
So maybe what you can do, there are two things that people can do. Assume you are in a business. You are running your business, you are doing invoices, kila kitu every day. After 5 years, this data might be too much for you to hold them. If there were books and receipts, it will be difficult for you to hold them. So what people do, you can have what's called separate server to store at least data past 5 years. Even data, sometimes they don't go past 5 years. Just in case something happened. The challenge you go through, sometimes you go to a place, they tell you, Robert, just install. They don't care what was there. We tell them no, because we comply data privacy. Whatever data you have been having, store it somewhere. Because when auditing is being done, you will not tell them what happened. Somebody can ask you, you sent 20,000, Robert, in 2020. 10 times. Explain the first one ilikuwa nini, ya pili, ya tatu. So that is why now it is important to store that data. You can remember, yes, I sent him money, but you cannot know why. So when you automate the process, you even have a reason why you paid somebody. Because the system does that. So it is even easier and you are safe. Now back to online. How do we ensure that also our data is not that exposed?
And now, as you speak on online, sorry Robert, because we literally have to end the show right now. As you speak on that, and we'll take that as a parting shot on online, also speak on delete. If I delete, how sure am I that it's been deleted? Because that is what we're asking people to do. You could delete, would you? So yes, on the deletion part, imeenda permanently, ama kuna mtu akona server mahali backup.
So what happened in any company that deal with the software, they are always required that even though you are deleting, there's something called status. So there's permanent status where you can be deleted permanently, or somebody change status to 0 to 1 or something like that, so that it is hidden from you, but maybe stored somewhere. So that in case just you say, I'm sorry, I never intended to delete this. I had a scenario where somebody, we provide point of sale for them, and they say, Robert, I deleted my product. I'm sorry, and they already sold a lot of things. No, don't worry. Yes, this is how else you can be able to do this a backup. However, there are specific number of days that backup can be there. Maybe 30 days, and even some apps, they will tell you after 30 days we will permanently delete. Because we have two types of human being. We have people who react immediately, and people who sometimes they don't react or the same. So reactive people, this is very bad. Delete. After a few minutes, I've just deleted my password and I cannot access all my banks. Can you help me? So it is good. So it depends whichever app that you use. But we recommend people that should always take care of people's data as much as possible, because anything can happen.
Okay. Mr. Kiruki, like 30 seconds in terms of what people really need to get out of this conversation with as far as data privacy and protection. Very quickly to end the show.
Yes. First and foremost is to understand that security believes, the protection and security, it's in their hands. Give necessary information. Don't give unnecessary information. Always before giving your data, ask questions as to why do you need it and for what purpose, for how long are you going to hold it. Also know you have a right to request them to delete. You have a right for them for access to that information. You have a right to demand correction of where there is misinformation. And finally is that before you give that information, pause and check as to whether you're properly protected.
I really like that.
I really like to advise each and every individual who is online, please store only relevant information. Do not post everything which is not good. Think of the future. What you post today, how does it affect your future many days to come, especially students who are looking for a job. What you post today sometimes could lead to you not getting that job. So I advise you that whatever you do, think of tomorrow. The employers currently are so smart that they have to do double check, do double thinking.
Thank you so much, gentlemen. Before we say goodbye, can I read just one or two feedback? Mike Nemaz said, I wouldn't. For my past, make it my future bright. Those scars, those setbacks, those childish posts has made me know the real definition of being a man. Let it serve as a testimony that once I was a child and now I am an adult. And then we get a Sema. Why and do? This is Brian Jerry. Why and do? I have always been a sound mind person. Can't delete. Then there's one that I was very interested. Avesema, this is Great D. Simone says, yes, reason we don't leave browser history behind. There's so much. There's so much to cover on this, and this conversation does not end here. Engage with us on our socials, and that is at NTV Kenya. Again, across all social media platforms, and let's keep the conversation going. Let's continue to educate each other as far as data privacy and data protection is concerned. But for now, allow us to say goodbye. My name is Winnie Lubembe. Enjoy the rest of the day. See you tomorrow on Entertainment Friday.
And I'm Wikali Mary. Have a good day. Adios.